Hey, what is up guys, I'm Rubio, and today I'm going to be talking about how the Golden State Warriors, the ultimate team, the team that's unbeatable even though they lost once in the finals, who could actually be able to beat them next year, anyone besides the Cleveland Cavaliers, because I thought if I make a top 3 and one of those 3 teams is the Cleveland Cavaliers, don't make much sense. So I'm going to do the top 3 teams besides the Cavaliers that could beat the Golden State Warriors next year in the championship or the Western Conference Finals, or you know what I meant. Anyway guys, let's get right into the video. The first team on this list is actually the Minnesota Timberwolves. You might be like, what, the Timberwolves? No, trust me, this team would not be on this list if they wouldn't have just made the recent trade for Jimmy Butler for Zach LaVine, which, I mean, in a landslide, Jimmy Butler is much better than Zach LaVine. I think the Timberwolves very much so did get the best of this, but I'm also going to say why I do think this team could beat the Golden State Warriors. Before I get to this, don't think I'm saying they will. I'm just saying they could. Alright, just before any of y'all think, oh, well, that's guaranteeing, so if you don't get it, I'm going to sacrifice you, going to crucify you, and no, don't do that. It's just, my personal opinion. So right now, the big 4 for the Timberwolves is Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, Ricky Rubio, and Jimmy Butler. That's a great big 4. And for Jimmy Butler, he is a lockdown defensive player and a great leader and scorer. What I mean by a great leader is, like, the dude, he will keep everybody in check, he will make sure, like, they don't start slacking on defense. And that's another thing with him being a great defensive player, it might rub up on people that aren't so good on defense as Andrew Wiggins. Because Andrew Wiggins, he is a great scorer, probably one of the best scorers in the entire league, but he lacks a lot on defense. But with JB, or Jimmy Butler, I have him under JB as his initial, that's why I said that. Yeah. For Jimmy Butler, he's going to be training and rubbing off and giving him all his secrets on how to defend. And Andrew Wiggins, if he becomes as good as a defender, or even close to as good of a defender as Jimmy Butler is, Andrew Wiggins will be one of the best players in this league. He might become better than Jimmy Butler because his scoring is already better than him. But as leader qualities, he is much better, and he can actually lead this team. But then you also have Karl Anthony Towns, another great superstar, and I mean, flat-out superstar. He's from Kentucky, and I mean, he's probably one of the best defensive players behind Anthony Davis. I might be a little biased on that, not being from New Orleans, but I think he's right behind Anthony Davis. I mean, he's not very far behind at all, and he's also a great post scorer, and I think he has a little bit of a jump shot. I'm not sure. He might be working on that. But I know that he's a great shot blocker, and he's very much a presence in the, I'm talking about, the post. So that will kind of hurt their small ball lineup, but not as much as some of the teams that are going to be farther in this list. And also, he's an All-NBA first rookie team, an All-NBA defensive team. So those are great accomplishments by him. And then you go to their point guard, Ricky Rubio. He's not an all-star. He's not even a superstar, I wouldn't say, but he's probably a way above average. He's above average point guard. He's a solid point guard, and he spreads the court and passes very well. But with that, like, he spreads the court by, like, you don't have to worry about one player. You have to respect him because he can drive and he has a nice shot. And yeah, he's just a solid point guard. He's just above average point guard in this league. But here's the real reason I actually picked him, not just because of their all-star lineup, but also because, alright, they got rid of Zach LaVine, and you think, oh, well, that must be a pretty bad thing. I mean, Zach LaVine's a great player, but yeah, but think about all his flaws. He's injury prone. Also, they have a better record without him this year. When he was out, they went 9-7 while he was out for injury. He was out for, like, I guess a couple games, and they went 9-7. So I mean, yeah, and plus Zach LaVine is a horrible defensive player. God, they're awful. He's just an awful defensive player, and Andrew Wiggins is much better than him. But another reason is the coach of the Timberwolves, Tom Thibodeau, has chemistry with Jimmy Butler, as he coached Jimmy Butler for 4 years in Chicago prior to this trade. Now he's going to be reunited, and he already knows how he is, so you never know. It could be workout, and it could be like a dream come true for Tom Thibodeau and Jimmy Butler. They're rekindle their love, and yeah, so pretty much, you never know. You never know. So I do think Timberwolves have a chance to beat Golden State Warriors. The next team on my list will be, probably not very surprising to some people, the San Antonio Spurs. And right now, their starting lineup is Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, Paul Gasol, and Patty Mills. And, well, I mean, besides Tony Parker, but Tony Parker has got hurt. It might have been I think it might be his career-ending injury. I doubt he comes back. But alright, now let's get into their lineup. Kawhi Leonard, obviously the centerpiece of this entire thing. He's an excellent worker. He's obviously an excellent defensive player. He has won Defensive Player of the Year 2 times in a row. He probably should have won it this year, but they gave it to Draymond Green. I think probably just so he wouldn't win it 3 times in a row. But I think he really should have won. I think he got cheated out of that. And also, he's a great scorer in the perimeter and in the paint, which is huge because you never know how to guard him. He has extremely quick first step. I mean, he's almost impossible to guard, and you cannot really get around him, and you'll be able to lock up Durant or Draymond Green or whoever he has to guard. And then you have Demarcus Aldridge, who's an old veteran, but pretty much he's a great defensive player. He could easily he's a good block shot, good at blocking shots, and could easily defend JaVale McGee or Zaza Pachulia, whoever you decide to put it against him. And he's not much of a scorer, but he could probably score on them too, as they're not the greatest players, and he could definitely take advantage of them too. So that's another reason that they could take advantage of the Golden State Warriors and maybe beat them. And then you have Paul Gasol, another great defensive player who isn't much of a scorer but can slow down Durant or Draymond Green in the paint. They can't really do much guarding on the perimeter, but they don't really need to, as that could really affect the small ball that they always try to run. And you can't run small ball when you have 2 twin towers and they're ready to block your shots, and you need big guys to go in the lane. When you can't really do it, it's going to be hard, and it might affect their game plan, and we'll be able to beat them. And now the big reasons that I did pick the San Antonio Spurs is because this year they had a 20-point lead in Game 1 before Kawhi Leonard got hurt. And, literally in the second half, he had a 20-point lead. He shoots a 3, Zaza Pachulia trips him up, he twists his ankle, and he gets hurt. And, if he doesn't get hurt, they win Game 1 for sure, and that was at Golden State. So they still went at home, and there's no telling where that series could have went from there. But as he got hurt, they ended up coming back in Game 1, winning that, and then they ended up getting swept because they did not have their centerpiece, Kawhi Leonard, and they weren't much without him. But when you saw them with him, and they were up by 20, that didn't look like the normal Warriors. And this was at their home, Game 1. That's where you should be hyped up, you should be healthy, you should be rested, you should be able to beat this team, but you almost lose. And you would have lost if their best player wouldn't have got hurt in a terrible way. And they also have 2 great bigs in Paul Gasol and Demarcus Aldridge that won't allow them to play small ball, and which will hurt the Warriors a lot because that's really all they run. Given that they get to run a small ball with a 7-footer now, having Kevin Durant, but then you have to add Zaza Pachulia or not Sean Livingston, or JaVale McGee, who are not much scorers and not that great on defense either. So it would really affect them, and as you can see, it almost affected them very badly in Game 1 if he wouldn't have got hurt. Now for the third and final team, the New Orleans Pelicans, which have a big 3 of Jrue Holiday, Anthony Davis, and Demarcus Cousins. And you might be like, well, that's not going to really be able to beat Golden State Warriors. It might affect them, but I won't be able to beat them. Just wait until later into why I picked this team to be able to beat them. Just wait later for while I'm describing why I picked them. But for now, let's get into the lineup. For the first dude on their team, probably the worst of the big 3, but he's not bad. He's very underrated in my opinion. Jrue Holiday, who's a solid passer and a great ball handling guard, who's really hard to rip. And me watching the Pelicans all my life, I really haven't seen Jrue Holiday get ripped that many times. I always know Chris Paul that we had, but he's a pretty good replacement to Chris Paul, even though he's not there at all yet. And he's also, besides his inside, wouldn't be that big, and he's not that big. He's a great scorer, and he can get into the paint very easily, and he's always scoring in the paint, and he's very shifty and hard to guard. I haven't seen many people be able to lock Jrue Holiday down. And also, you have Anthony Davis, who's also obviously an excellent defender and shot blocker, probably next to none in shot blocking, and almost next to none in defensive player, but Kawhi Leonard and Anthony Towns, they might be close to him, but I don't know if anyone is as good. And also, he's kind of developing the shot to where, he's getting a good jumper, and, he already has a mid-range game of next to no one, second to no one in his mid-range game. It is wet. You can't stop it. And he'll be able to at least slow down Kevin Durant a lot. And then you have Demarcus Cousins, the flair of the team, the spark plug now. We just got him from a trade from the Kings. We got lucky. And then he's another big that would prevent the Warriors from playing small ball. And he could also abuse the bigs that the Golden State Warriors have in, what's his face, Zaza Pachulia and JaVale McGee, as they're not big enough or strong enough or just good enough to guard Demarcus Cousins or Anthony Davis. And he would be able to play bully ball against them and just go off. and they would have to put him in because you can't go small ball or he's just going to bully whoever you have on him then. So pretty much it's a win-win for the Pelicans. And now let's get into the bread and butter of why I picked this team. And so y'all aren't like, well, he's just being biased. No. So Noah, they will have, or the New Orleans Pelicans, Noah for short, y'all should know that, they will proceed to get a great knockdown shooter in free agency, as they have tons of money for free agency. Tons. It's the biggest three they're paying is Demarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, Jrue Holiday, the big three that they need to keep. The rest of the people, they're probably going to get rid of a lot of them, like Amir Ashik and Alexis Jensen. Terrible contracts, they're just going to get rid of them. Probably release them to free agency. But they still have tons of money besides that. And the free agents that they could get it are Nick Young, Dion Waiters, JJ Redick, or Andrew Iguodala. I don't see Andrew Iguodala leaving, but if we could get him, he's a great defender. And he knows what the Golden State Warriors do, obviously being a part of that team. And he's said that he wants to leave in free agency, but to us, I don't know. But yeah, if we could get him, he also is a pretty efficient scorer. He'd probably start for us. And then you also have JJ Redick, who's a knockdown shooter, not much on defense, but his shot is almost one of the best in the league, probably top 10 shots in the league for sure. Dion Waiters, he's a great defender, and he has a pretty good shot. Nick Young, I wouldn't call him young, Swaggy P. He's not young. He's a pretty good. He's a ball handler, and he kind of rekindled his career with the Lakers this year, having above average year, I would say, shooting the ball, and he's a really good shooter. So I wouldn't mind getting Nick Young either. And if we could somehow land Kevin Durant to come to the Pelicans, I wouldn't mind that either. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. He'd probably just resign with the Golden State Warriors. Freaking bitch. Anyway, besides what I just said, that's going to be it for this video. And if you agree or disagree with me, comment below. If you want to see more of this video, like and hit the subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. And anyway, guys, that's going to be it. Stay safe. God bless. Love you. Whatever you do, just remember, God's with you.